In the next little while, I'm going to tell you the story of a brown envelope that was given to me and why I resisted opening it. The hesitation changed the course of my life. It's about how we respond to what life places in our hands. But to do that, I have to go back in time. When I was 17, I was enrolled in accountancy in a junior college in Singapore. It was a safe, secure path, my parents thought. You see, growing up in the 80s in Singapore, success had a very practical shape. Financial stability is security, and security is safety. So when I took myself out of college, only 2 months into it, my parents were understandably upset. So my father sat me down and he said to me, "What is it that you want?" And I said, "I want to understand human behavior." And because both my parents were engineers, science was the next compromise. And step by step, I planned. First, I have a postgraduate diploma in life sciences and chemical technology in Singapore. Then I have a master's in neuroscience in the University of Glasgow. And lastly, I did my PhD in Trinity College Institute of Neuroscience, just around there. I specialized in learning and memory in the animal model. This means I spent hours, hundreds of hours, observing rats escape maze, interact with objects, sometimes play with them. Who knew all those count for fundamental training for this play therapist? Slowly, as my path unfolded, I thought, heck, why just do a PhD? Let's have a baby. In my mind, I thought I was going to have a PhD in one hand and a baby in the other, preferably in the same week. In the summer of 2010, at the age of 28, I became a new mother. The thing about new mothers is they promise you joy, love, elation, happiness. My son was born and diagnosed at birth with Down syndrome. It was tough. It was grief. It was pain, uncertainty, fear. Everything I thought I knew is disintegrated. And that was really, really hard. The part about the shame is that it comes with the pain. Because as moms, as new parents, you really shouldn't feel shame when you have a new baby. I described it as mourning my baby as he lies beside me. There was a kind nurse in the hospital. She wanted to help. She came to me and she produced a brown envelope just like this. And she said, "Everything you need to know about Down syndrome is in there." And she left it. Something in me whispered, "No, not yet." He is more than a diagnosis. A few days later, my father rang me from Singapore, and he said he was talking to my grandfather in Mandarin and trying to explain what Down syndrome is and what it could mean for my child. My grandfather said, "You don't know him yet." It was an echo to the whispers in my body. And a few weeks later, I was persuaded to go to a colleague's wedding. And there I met my professor. And he pulled me aside. I still remember the room. And he said to me, "You will not give up." His words steadied me. He gave me permission. As a parent, you often feel guilty for choosing your own path over your child's. And that was what the difficulty was. Going back to the PhD, which was not done. It was extremely overwhelming and hard. I described it as being dragged across the tarmac in broken glass. If you've done a PhD, you know that is true. Now imagine that with a new baby. Imagine that baby with an uncertain future. And for me, when things are always overwhelming, I think of a support network. and that we should really spread them like roots of a tree as wide and as deep as possible. And one of the things I grasped onto was someone called Carol Ann. When I met Carol Ann, she was interviewing to be a childminder. She was also a retired play therapist. She came into the apartment with tea, cakes, and coffee. So excited. She came in, she said a polite hi, and she was straight onto the ground with my child. She was seeing my child. She was delighting in my child. In that moment, something in me shifted. You see, when things are so fearful and uncertain, it creates a huge vacuum. And in that void, expectation flows in. Expectation of society, my own parents' expectation, milestones we're supposed to reach. And she showed me something simpler. See the child, not the diagnosis. And that planted a seed for me. What is this play therapy magic? And later on, I have my second child, Mira. 2 children, same home, completely different journey. Mira, at the age of 18 months, as I fed her, looked up to me and said, "No, boo-boo." What was that? She's done. 6 months later, she came out the bathroom, whipped up her nappy, and asked for underpants. She toilet trained herself. Mira knows herself, and she owns herself, and she reminds me to lean into my light. Alex, as I've come to know, is a person who completely lives in the moment. He seeks joy, he incites joy. He reminds me to find joy. And as my curiosity for play therapy deepened, I decided to pursue it as a career. But my path is never linear. The 2 years course, I was not accepted, not qualified enough. So I had to do a 4 years course. I rang the professor, we met for coffee, and I said, "It's gonna be 4 years, and I'm going to be 40. And he looked at me and said, "You're gonna be 40 anyway." And slowly, the neuroscientist and me aligned with the play therapist I was becoming to be. For more than half a century, play therapists have watched children heal through relationship and play long before the neuroscience have showed us how or why. The neuroscience now revealed that our brain develops in a hierarchical way. First the brainstem, our survival system, then the limbic system for emotion, and finally the cortex for reasoning and planning. We develop from the bottom up, and as play therapists, we meet children exactly where they are. And when safety is sensed that way, our social engagement system comes on. Our tone of voice change. We can maintain eye contact with connection. And it is in this regulated state that play is possible. Play is not random behavior. Play is how safety is wired through repeated experiences. And it's not just in childhood, it's in teams, it's in communities, in schools, it's in organizations, we leaders. Innovation flourish when we feel safe enough to explore. So, I didn't really leave neuroscience. I just took it to the ground as a play therapist. My call of action for you today is, the next time you're with a child or anybody, ask not who they should be, but who they are and how you can be with them. And as I now open the envelope with you, I'll reveal 3 artwork produced by both my children and my husband. And these are the messages I wish they gave to me on that really warm summer day as I lay there with my son, so uncertain of what the world is going to be. And the first will be, find pockets of joy. And know you will find them again and again and again. When in doubt, slow down. Children, adults, don't grow when we push them harder. They grow when they feel safe enough to try. Lastly, celebrate every success no matter how small. And no, we do not do it alone. And finally, to my loving parents that one puts me on this accountancy path, I hope presenting here in the Trinity Business School counts as a reasonable return on investment. Thank you.